Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Friday the 13th of February. I'm Derek Clark and I'm joined this morning by Jonny McFarlane. How goes it, Jonny?
It's Friday the 13th and you've got the right man to come in with his axe. Let's get into it.
Yep, let's get into it. I'm not messing about this morning, folks. Before we do just that, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willow's Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust and proud partners of the Rangers Review. If you're looking for a new fence, these are the guys to call. They've got over 20 years of experience in the fencing trade. No job is too big or too small. They offer free consultations and 10% off with the code Rangers Review over on their website, willows-fencing.com. Right, just a heads up, folks. Danny Rohl will be speaking to Joshua and the other assembled press pack at 9:40. He's scheduled to be speaking to us at. So we'll bring you any headlines from that as we build up to the game on Sunday against Hearts. A must-win game for me. Rangers cannot afford to not take 3 points in that game, in my opinion. But before we look ahead to that, we'll discuss what unfolded at Third Park on Wednesday evening. Big shout out, incidentally, to Grado. We exchanged a few voice memos yesterday on WhatsApp. He was sharing his opinion on the game. It's fair to say that both he and myself and many others agree that that performance was nowhere near good enough, and Rangers have no chance of winning any league title if that's the sort of display they're going to be pitching in between now and the end of the season. So improvement is needed.
Derek, with your celebrity pals.
He wasn't happy. I've got to say that he was not amused by what he witnessed on Wednesday, and I don't blame him. It was not good at all. So we'll get stuck into that. I was watching the game. Obviously, I flew back from Iceland yesterday. I was there away for a week. I watched the game in my hotel room on my phone on Wednesday evening, and the wife was watching the TV in the hotel room. So I had to use my AirPods because she did not want the commentary and me speaking over her enjoyment of the TV. But tell you what, the whole hotel heard me when Stephen Welsh netted that equaliser. So apologies to the Aurora Hotel outside Keflavik Airport. But yeah, listen, it was not good. And probably Rangers fortunate to come away with a point in that game. Jonny, your views on what unfolded? Rangers obviously taking that early lead through Nico Raskin. For me, an absolute sitter from Yusuf Chermiti in the first half. I know we're going to get on to that. He missed another opportunities that you really want your striker to be burying. When Motherwell get a man sent off in the second half, you're thinking, okay, go and see the game out, Rangers. But that wasn't the case. I think Danny Rohl, for a start, got the team selection wrong. And then I was not impressed by the three subs on 85 minutes. Listening to Rangers TV at the time, I think Bomber was bang on. He just asked the team to see the game out at that point. But the subs, for me, impacted the game too much. I had a bad feeling when I seen them coming on. And it proved warranted as Motherwell equalised, of course. And they deserved at least a point in that game. Great piece from Joshua on the how the game unfolded yesterday on the website. Folks, do go and check it out. But Jonny, you watched it as well. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say everyone needs to calm down a wee bit because this league title race is still very much on. I believe that both Celtic and Hearts will drop significant more points between now and the end of the season. So we have to caveat that it's not an all is lost situation. But I think what we're seeing, and if you probably pair this in with the Hibs game, is that a lot of what people said, myself included, have said it over and over again about a lack of attacking threat, and these issues not being solved in the January window, and that issue coming home to roost. And I think also the lack of experience in the team, in this league, experienced players who can see you through in the moments where things are a little bit tough. Now, you look at that game, and let's go back to Bomber's comments. Bomber's spot on, because Bomber came from an era where you had professionals who would be able to say, right, guys, we've got a style of play, we've got a philosophy, we've got a way the manager wants us to play this game. The manager might even be calling us to do something from the touchline. But we've been battered here. 80 minutes gone in this game. They've got 10 men. We need to see this out. We need to get stuck in. We need to win the second balls. We need to get behind the ball immediately. And we need to show real professionalism and just make it really, really difficult for the opposition. We're going to get battered for it, but we're going to get the 3 points. And that's all that matters at this stage. And I thought Rangers showed a lack of professionalism, an absolute lack of professionalism, a lack of experience, a lack of nous, a lack of street smarts. And Derek, to be honest with you, I couldn't believe what I was watching in that last 10 minutes. Now, Danny Rohl talked about Motherwell can throw caution to the wind. They've got a man down. They're rolling the dice. But Rangers absolutely, with £50 million spent on them in the best part of 7 or 8 months, should be able to see that out. And if they can't, there's a big issue at play. And I know it's one game. I know Motherwell are a good team. I know they've got an excellent manager. But that's a worrying sign for a title chasing team. If you can't see out that kind of game in that kind of situation. And I'll be honest, the team that looked more likely to score, scored. The team that had more attacking vigour, scored. The team with a purpose, scored. And if you look at that goal, I've rarely seen a more frustrating goal for Rangers to lose. Sort of flighted ball in. Dujon Sterling is nowhere. It's really appalling defending from him, and I really like him, but he's barely jumped. He's a really good player, and when he's fit, he's going to be a big asset for Rangers, but he barely jumps there. Still, even then, it should be meat and drink for Rangers central defenders. And John Souttar has gone to sleep and is ball watching, and Stephen Welsh is just open, in completely open position, and has the ability to twist his body and pull off a sort of quite a difficult finish where he should have someone basically skin tight to him and blocking that shot. It's appalling. It's an appalling moment. Now, I pointed this out on Twitter. A lot of people agree with me. A lot of people point out that John Souttar was good in the game. John Souttar was good in the game. Yeah. Giga was good in the game. But do you know what, Derek? Moments win titles. And that was a decisive moment. Celtic were 1-1. They got to 2-1. Rangers were 1-0. It went to 1-1. That's important. Hearts obviously got their last-minute goal against Hibs. And it tells you a lot about this team. But I think it comes back to that thing that Bomber was pointing out, Derek, on Rangers TV, which I didn't see, but I'll take your word for it, and I do believe it. Experience, nous, street smarts. I don't think those issues were really addressed in January. And I don't think those are seen as important as we think they are. Guys who've been watching Rangers for many, many decades and many, many years. I don't think that's what they're recruiting for. I think this club needs a sprinkling of that, and we're seeing that now. You
mentioned January there. I know Chris asked Daniel Rohl after the game about, do you have any regrets over the team you picked? Apologies, folks, if they read this answer out yesterday on the show. He said, in general, sometimes you have to pick the team before the game, not after. There are some things. Ryan, obviously, Nadiri had a little bit of problems yesterday after the training. It was too much to start to put straight into. Then you have, as I said, Tochi and Tour and Skov. Players have to implement them in the rhythm of the game. I saw both games today and Sunday. I see a little bit together. I need the idea for both games. Let's see. Yeah, finally, it's just a draw and we're disappointed. Of course, I take this. I was disappointed not to see Skov Olsen come on, Jonny. Listen, no my feelings on Tello Asgard, but I don't know why Daniel's persevering with this chap now. I don't think he's the reason Rangers drop points. Of course, he came on at a point he wasn't directly involved in the goal per se, but Andrei Skov Olsen is the marquee signing in January. Surely he's able to come off the bench at Fir Park and contribute something.
Yes, absolutely. I don't like that comment from Danny Rohl about we'll play these 2 games together. I've never heard that from a manager before in my entire life. It's always one game at a time. And when you're in a title race, it's one game at a time.
Yeah.
And I looked at that lineup like everyone else and thought, where are the goals coming from? Where are the goals coming from? And listen, Derek, once again, I did point this out on here. I'm not being smart after the fact. when all the discussion was here about Chermiti, me and you are very much in the camp that Chermiti is not good enough to be Rangers number 9. Not everyone on the channel agrees with that. We feel that strongly, and we've said it over and over and over again. And I actually went as far as to say, people are talking about if you sell Chermiti now, this is in the transfer window, then you're disrupting the team and it might cost you the title. I said keeping him might cost you the title.
Yeah.
And examples like the other night, I think, are what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That is a chance that a Rangers number 9 should be scoring. As simple as that. I don't want to beat the boy up. I think as a 21-year-old, he's got potential. He's physically strong. He can do the hold-up play. And you know what? If he's Rangers' third-choice striker that develops over the next couple of years to become Rangers' first-choice striker in 2 or 3 years, it's a different story. But I think when you need goals and you need a killer, I just don't understand why Chermiti is playing in that game. I get Nadiri has picked up a knock. But I'm playing Miovski all day long. Like, Miovski's got his flaws. He's infuriating, Derek, right? He's absolutely infuriating because, see, if you look at Miovski's 10 goals for Rangers, almost every one of them is just a terrific finish, a gorgeous killer finish. So many of his goals are very, very easy on the eye. And you think, wow, there's a player there if you're looking at the goals. But he just doesn't contribute, or Rangers can't find a way to make him contribute to the game as it's going on. But the one thing you see about Miovski is when he gets a chance, you know that he's got the finish in him. Yeah. Chermiti gets the chance, he's got no composure. As Darren says, he's got no composure. And he's just not a natural finisher. He's 4 goals. 4 goals, Derek. It's just not good enough. And do you know what? I'd be more open to the arguments if around him and either side of him there was a lot of goals. But there isn't. There isn't.
No.
So I just think, how can you win a title when you've got a striker that's going to get you, if you're lucky, 8, 9, 10 goals a season?
He'll do well to hit double figures, Johnny. I don't think he'll hit that, to be honest. Again, Celtic Park was the 2 goals at Parkhead were good, but that should have been a Daniel Kuzan goodbye for me. If an offer came in that window, then Rangers should have shook Yusuf's hand and wished him well on his way, because he cannot be relied upon, unfortunately. And that was a striker who is just short of confidence. How many times have we said that about Yusuf Chermiti? He could take a touch there. He could then just place it into the corner. Anyone with a killer instinct and a striker's instinct would be, well, they dream of opportunities like that, but he just head down, strike it straight at the goalkeeper. Me or you could have scored that. There you go.
Steady.
Well, we'd have hit the goalie.
Yeah. I mean, listen, one of the things I think about the lineup, just to get back to the lineup, because I don't want to dwell on Chermiti. We've had our say so many times. Everyone knows what we think. But I get sports science, and people get into the red zones and people pick up little knocks. And, if someone has a little knock and you play them more than they should, it can become a bigger knock and then they're out for a number of games. I get all that. Rangers have suffered from that, and they need to be smart when it comes to playing players at the right time.
Yeah.
I just look at these 2 games, Motherwell and then Hearts. I mean, these are defining games. These 2 games are so important. And the next one after Hearts isn't for another week, and it's Livingston. So it's a I'm not saying it's an easy game. It'll be challenging against Livingston. It always is when you go there, but they're the bottom team in the league. So for me, I just don't get why you don't say, right, lads, I'm going to ask you to empty the tank in these next 2 games.
Exactly.
Go mad. Expend the energy. These 2 games, you're going to get a rest the following week. And then at Livingston, I'm going to bring in some of the players that haven't been getting game time. That, for me, is how I think you would obviously do it. And again, I want to stress, the easiest job in the world is to be the pundit and talk about this after the fact. Every single one of us in the Rangers Review were talking about this on Twitter when we saw that team lineup. Yeah. It just didn't look like a lineup that was going to be able to go out there and cause Motherwell serious problems, and they didn't. They didn't. That's the reality. That chance for Chermiti, that came off the back of an awful Stephen Welsh mistake. It was a really poor mistake. So that wasn't a chance that was created for him by excellent play. I'll give Rangers their due. The goal was fantastic. And actually, Chermiti has a major part in the goal with a wonderful run that drags the defenders out and gives Raskin the space to go through. It's pretty much the only moment, wasn't it? Was there another great moment? Was there another?
There's a flashpoint with the penalty, which I thought would have been checked by VAR, and I was pretty shocked it wasn't, to be honest. The little nudge on Chermiti. I don't know if you agree with that, Jonny, but I quite get why that wasn't checked.
The first thing I would say is I don't like this discourse of when Rangers were rotten. Oh well, but what about that penalty? I just. If Rangers are good and that happens, then I have a lot more sympathy. But when Rangers are utterly rotten and dominated by Motherwell, when you've spent so much money in the transfer window, it just irritates me to see that. What I would say is it's one of these ones that, everyone that loves Rangers watching that game will say that's a penalty. That's just the way it is. And
it's a free kick anywhere else in the park for me.
Yeah, I agree. So, but the conspiracy theory stuff, I've said it before and I've said it again, it's just not for me. And I would say that the biggest issue is Rangers' complete failure to pose any kind of attacking threat. Some of these things go for you and some of them go against you. I don't think it was a stonewaller by any manner of means, by the way, because not all contact is a penalty and it has to be enough. But absolutely 100%, when it's your team, you definitely want that. You're shouting for it. You're saying that's a penalty. So the bigger problem for me is you look at this team and there isn't a solution that fits all from a striking point of view, from the front three point of view, where you go, those three will be the guys that you put in against Celtic, or those three are guys that you put in against Hearts and that will give you the result. Mikey Moore, there's no doubt an incredibly talented young player, Mikey Moore. But again, Derek, outputs, mate. There's so much to me of Mikey Moore that reminds me of like a young, more talented Ryan Kent. They're quite similar in a lot of ways. There's a lot of like wonderful play and beating one or two men, but way outside the box. Is Mikey Moore going to be a guy that gets you 15 goals a season? Is Mikey Moore going to get you 15 assists? I think he probably will when he's 23 or 24.
But the forward line, Jonny, I thought Mikey Moore was bright in patches on Wednesday night. But again, he's
always bright in patches. But that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but he's playing with Chermiti up top, and there's a lot of comments coming about Jerry Gassama, who again, Rangers need a lot more for this chap. He's not producing enough to earn a starting berth for me. And again, I go back to why is Skov Olsen not getting minutes on the park? Oliver Antman, why is he not getting minutes on the park? I think he's deservedly should be frustrated at not getting on. Incidentally, folks, as we touched on earlier, Danny Rohl conducting his press conference on Motherwell and his team. Josh has tweeted that he said that as a manager, he take responsibility. There were some reasons I can't tell you today about injuries. So there you go. And on Sunday says there's a chance to go 2 points behind Hearts from 13 behind. Maybe the pressure is on them. Both teams have pressure. I think there's a lot more pressure on
not on Hearts in any way, shape, or form. It's just not right. I get what he's trying to do, but you've screwed the pooch with that result. And Danny Rohl is a really talented young manager, I think, and I think that'll be proven over his time at Rangers. But the pressure is really on him here, right? He's not really won a big game where he wasn't expected to, with the exception of Parkhead, Derek. Right? Now, let's be honest, Wilfred Nancy's Celtic were in utter crisis at that point. The players were in revolt. We know what was going on behind the scenes. It was probably the best opportunity Rangers ever had of winning at Parkhead with that game because of what was going on over there. I think he's got a bit to prove about going and winning that game. You think of his European records. It's been tough, no doubt, but not been a lot of wins under his belt for that. I think this is one where, Danny Rohl can start actually saying, well, that was a big win for me. And if he doesn't win it, he's going to be under pressure. There's no doubt about it, Derek. Not pressure for his job. You know, we all know what he inherited and how good it was. And the truth is, the recruitment at the summer was poor. But there's no point in pretending. This is just the truth. The pressure is on Rangers. They lose, and I think it's over, Derek. I think 8 points with what is it 11 to go at that point? Eight. It would be 8 points. I can't remember exactly how many games to go, but there's not many games left. Draw, I think, yes, that can still be done, but challenging. And when you're right back in it, Danny Rule's absolutely right about that. 100%.
Well, 12 games after Sunday.
Yeah, 12 games, right. Ibrox needs to get behind the team, big style. Like it. This needs to be
don't need to tell anybody how big the game is. I think everyone is aware of how big this game is, and it's a must-win for me. The Rangers need to win this match.
It's huge.
There's no two ways about it. Big thank you to James Strachan, who watches us from down under. He's kindly donated to the channel. Says, win one game at a time, play the 4 new signings, play the next game and win again. If I was Kavanagh, I would ask, why did we get the new signings? So not happy at not seeing more of the new boys in action on Wednesday night. Who knows who we'll see starting in the game on Sunday? I would like to see. I think I would like to see all 4 of them start, Johnny. Is that unfair to expect it? The 4 of them? I very much like the look of 2 Romans. Andrew Skov-Olsen has been brought in to win, to contribute and win Rangers these sort of games. I'd be starting him. Ryan Nadiri is, for me, should be first choice striker. And Tochi Chukwani, I think, has been pretty good for Rangers. I think he'll do.
Wasn't good at the week. It wasn't good at midweek. I don't think it was good against Motherwell. I expect more from him. I actually look at that midfield, Diamandi, Raskin, and Chukwani, and you think, what? They wouldn't need it. None of them. Diamandi, I think, is becoming really, really important. I was actually talking to Josh about this, and I was skirting with the idea of, do we need to think about putting Dujon Sterling back into that midfield? Is that what needs to be the chat? And Josh pointed out, well, then you're putting a totally misfiring, out of form James Tavernier at right back, presumably. And the idea of him going up against Kizaridis, I'm not too keen on that. I think Sterling will take care of Kizaridis, or has a better chance. But do you know what I mean about having that someone that just has a defensive nous and a bit of bite? Well, I feel like Rangers are lacking.
I think Chukwani is that guy. Baron Loyal's taking issue with your comment there, Johnny. Says he was good. He won 100% of his tackles. I just didn't feel he imposed himself. Oh, listen, maybe there was stuff he was doing that I missed, but I just didn't feel anyone in that Rangers midfield imposed himself. I thought Motherwell won the midfield battle. Well, they're a decent side, Motherwell. Don't get me wrong.
They are.
They're playing some good stuff, but that was
terrific manager. That's the truth of it.
Yeah, he's certainly got them firing. That's for sure. But Hearts, of course, are all eyes turning to Sunday. Apart from, as you touched on there, I want all 4 new signings to start. Any other alterations that you're making to that team? I'm not starting Jedi Gassama, incidentally. I don't think he deserves to start the game.
Totally agree. You've got to put a stop to poor performance. You've got to say no more. Now, against Hearts, there's an argument that JD Gassama has a better opportunity because the way they play, is it going to be more of a basketball match? Is it going to give him more opportunity? I like Gassama more as a sub, Derek. I've got to be honest. I think he can come on and make a difference against tired legs.
Yep.
So, the big thing for me is up front. Rangers absolutely need to have more attacking bite than they had against Motherwell. The midfield boys need to get on the game, on the second balls, get behind the ball so that they've got control of the game. And look, Hearts, we know the way they play. They can play a bit. They've got quality and creativity in the side, no doubt about it. But they're muscular. They're muscular for a reason, because Derek McInnes understands the league. I'm not. People often think this is like some sort of pejorative, some sort of criticism. I think Hearts are great to watch. It's not that. They're just, but they play the percentages. They're smart. They're streetwise, and in some ways, they're everything Rangers sometimes are not. And there is no doubt they will see this as a bit of a free hit. That's how Derek McInnes will say it. He'll say, that draw makes this game a bit of a free hit because, look, we don't want to lose it, but if we do, we're still in great position. No one expects us to come to Ibrox and win.
Exactly. I don't take, and I've not watched the press conference. I'm just going to what Josh has reported. I don't get the point they're coming here under pressure. They're in a fantastic position, Hearts, at this point. And every time you think that they've had a little stutter, a little blip, even the Edinburgh Derby the other night there, they find a way to win. Which shows you that they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Rohl was pressed on his comments after the game against Motherwell about taking a draw. He says, maybe my message was not communicated well enough. It was about after the game, and when I look back at how the opponent played and how we played, but we went into the game wanting to win. And he was actually...
he deserves a bit of leeway on that. English is his second language. He's been here, less than 6 months. As I say, I don't want the criticism that's been laid out in this pod to be taken too strongly at Danny Rohl, because I'll say it again, I think he's done a right good job with what he's had to work with. I think he is a right good manager, a right talented manager. But, you know, I've said it before and I say it again, and I think this is a good thing. At Rangers, you're not judged on your last game. You're judged on your last pass, right? Richard Gough said it. Richard Gough understood it better than anyone. So how good Danny Rohl is will be judged better on Sunday than it is today. And if they lose, then the judgments will be harsh. That is this club. So it's on Danny to understand that, adjust accordingly, and make sure he gets over the line. And the one thing you've got to say about him so far, he's a pragmatist and he understands how to win games. Rangers haven't always been great under Danny Rohl. That's for certain. But they get there in the end, the majority of the time so far.
Yeah.
It's a tough one on Sunday, though.
Yeah. I like John's optimism. He says, Hearts are due a hiding from us, and it will happen on Sunday, Bears. So hopefully you're right there, John. Josh also said that Rohl was asked on Yusuf Chermiti on that chance that we've been discussing. He says, I want him to take the extra touch and find the corner. But that will come. With Celtic, he turned the game. He can do this again totally. So there you go. He's just trying to obviously keep his confidence up, I'd imagine. Will be interesting to see who starts on Sunday. Like I touched on, I'd be starting Ryan Nadiri up top. He deserves a shout. Defensively, we've seen Emmanuel Fernandez coming off the bench in midweek, Jonny. I think Nasser Giga's been relatively steady enough for Rangers, and John Souttar, apart from...
He's been good. He's been good. I give him credit, Derek.
Fernandez gives you that threat set pieces, though, which I'd be inclined to start him because of that, because I think it could be a game won by a set piece.
So for me, the question is, do you play Fernandez and Giga? Or do you play Fernandez and Souttar? It's not, you know, I would play Souttar and Fernandez because absolutely the threat that Fernandez gives you at set plays is so significant. The additional protection he gives you at set plays, which Hearts are also very good at, is so significant. I think he's the first name on the team sheet. He has to play, right? If he's fit, he has to play. So then who plays alongside him? For me, Giga doesn't deserve to be dropped, but I'm dropping him because John Souttar, he's played these type of games so many times. He's got experience. He'll lead Fernandez through the game. John Souttar, look, I'm not defending John Souttar. You know, I've got my own criticisms of John Souttar and some of his mistakes. He's a guy that's prone to switching off, and we saw that against Motherwell. He was great throughout the whole game, and then he makes one mistake where he switches off. He's prone to that. But I think if you go Giga and Fernandez, who's the defensive leader? I'm not sure. I think Souttar and Fernandez is it has to be the two.
Yeah, interestingly. Point coming in. I know that Shanklin T9 is a big fan of the show, but he says 3-0 Hearts on Sunday. None of that, buddy. That's a yellow card. Any more comments like that, and you'll be having some time in the sin bin. But there you go.
You think it's 1996?
They were a good side back then, weren't they? Under Jim Jeffries' Hearts.
It was Alan Johnson scored the hat trick.
Yeah, that's right. I think Advocat was over for that, or he's seen a video of that game. That's how he got sort of he was attracted to Neil McCann that day. But yeah, Johnston scored a hat trick.
Nah, was it not the League Cup final, the 4-3 game when Gaza scored after taking the whiskey at half time? McCann was absolutely sensational in that game. I'm sure a Red Advocate saw that game.
No,
and that's how he started. I think he liked him. He liked him at PSV for PSV.
Yeah,
I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so good stuff. Left back,
everyone under 30 is going, what are they talking about?
I was at that 4-3 game, incidentally. What a game that was.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was superb.
That's for a right good team at that time. Yeah.
Oh, they were.
People forget
Davy Weir at centre half.
Yeah, people forget that team was really good in cups and also pushed hard in the league as well. Certainly for one season, which we will not discuss any further.
Left back, Johnny, are you starting Jaden McGoma or is two Romans coming in? I'm starting Romans, I've got to say.
Romans. Romans, I think Magoma is a good wee player, isn't he? He's another one, a bit like Mikey Moore and a bit like Chermiti. You can tell they're all going to be good players at some point, very, very likely. But Magoma, he's a steady Eddie, keeps up his development, then when he's 23, 24, he'll be a terrific left back. But I just don't think he's quite there physically for the league and this type of game. I think he'll be targeted at the back post. Yeah. Hearts are again, I don't want to come across like, oh, look, cynical Hearts, but big physical Hearts are going to look at Magoma and think we can do something with that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised at set pieces and things like that if he would be targeted. So I like him as a player, but I don't think this is the game for him. I think that's why Romans didn't play against Motherwell, because I think he'd be brought back for this one.
Right, folks, that press conference with Danny Rohl is uploading to the YouTube channel as we speak, so it should be with you any time now, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members, we will record our Q&A show this afternoon. We'll aim for 1 p.m. as normal, folks, so pop the request out for questions on the community page, get them sent in, and we'll get through as many as we possibly can.
Big man. Yes. Would you say that today people have been in more agreement with us or in more agreement with Josh and Blair yesterday? Because Josh was saying he was getting slaughtered yesterday, which I love to see. I always love to see it.
Well, going by the comments, the vast majority, I think, are in agreement with our two selves. So there you go. 1 points for us. So
it's real. I've got to take them when I can get them.
Yes, most certainly. What's happening on Sunday, Johnny? Are Rangers winning?
See, if I'm being balanced and honest, I think it's more likely to be a draw. But you know, I think if Ibrox is what Ibrox can be, Rangers will win the game. If it can bring the kind of power and the luster and the passion that Ibrox at its best, I absolutely think Rangers will win the game. I worry about the team maybe being picked off a little bit by a savvy operator that Derek McInnes is, and just listen, it's a big one for Danny Rohl. It's a big one for Danny Rohl. If he gets across the line, I think he'll be entitled to take a deep breath and say we're in a good place.
Yeah, I fancy Rangers by the odd goal. I think it's going to be a nip and tuck sort of game. I don't expect Rangers to roll Hearts over as much as that would be absolutely fantastic, but it's one of those ones that need to win the duels all over the park, and then we'll win the game. We did mention Willow's fencing, Paul, so don't worry about that. So listen, they got a second mention on the show.
What's the tagline?
What is the tagline? The
tagline that I see gets repeated back to me sometimes.
They build a fence around Jack Butland.
No, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust.
Yes, exactly. So there you go, folks. If you need a new fence, I know it's been pretty windy in certain parts of the UK. Certainly in Iceland, it was the windiest place I think I have ever been over there. It was almost blown off the cliff side where I was, which was pretty scary, I've got to say. But there we go. I stayed on my feet. But I don't know if Willow's Fencing do fencing over it in Iceland. We're actually we ventured over. There's an island off Iceland called Vestmannaeyjar, which translates as the Westman Islands. And one of the sort of tourist attractions is to head over to the cliffs where there's like a lighthouse and things. But it was pretty scary. It was you're right high up, and you can imagine what it's like out there in the Atlantic Ocean.
Where's there left to go that's absolutely freezing, bleak, not much to see? Where have you got left? You've been to Faroes, you've done Iceland, you've done Greenland.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Alaska, is that the next one?
I'd love to go to Alaska, incidentally. Yeah, that is on the list at some point. But listen, Iceland is so. We've seen a fair bit when I was away during last week, but there's so much more to see. It's so vast, it's unreal. So I think next time we'll maybe hire a car and drive all the way around the island, but that'll take some doing. Like to go to Greenland again. Obviously,
do you ever fancy Sorrento or?
Well, yeah, I went to Venice, of course, a few months ago, and
that's true.
We'd like to go. Tell you what, have you ever been to Sicily? Have you been to Sicily?
I'd love to go to Sicily. I've not been.
Yeah,
it's one of the few places in Italy I've not actually got to yet, but I'd like to go. It looks beautiful.
And I tell you, Peggy gets in touch, and this is something I was having a chat with the old wife the other day there about possibly going up this neck of the woods. Peggy says Isle of Lewis, Jonny, up that neck, Stornoway and the likes. I think that would be because even though
Shetland and Orkney.
Yes, well, no, it costs a fortune to get up there. Incidentally, I looked at flights, and it's an absolute bomb to head up there. But certainly the Western Isles, Skye and the likes, Egg, Muck, all that sort of stuff. Like to venture up that neck of the woods at some point. Maybe there's Rangers supporters clubs up there that would like to host.
Skye's fantastic.
Yeah,
I've been up to Skye. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous up there.
And there's a bridge you can drive over there, can't you?
You can. It's a bridge, so it's you don't leave the mainland. You can get a ferry across if you want, but it's more expensive than obviously just driving across. Yeah. But loads of great food, Derek. Great drink, lots of distilleries if you like. Well, actually, there's only 2 distilleries, but these 2 distilleries, and then there's lots of bars and bottle shops and all the rest of it. So it's great. I did a lot of boozing back in my boozing days.
Maka gets in touch and says Don McFarleone in Italy. That's if you were from down there in that neck of the woods. But there you go. Right, we do digress. We'll wrap up there for now, folks. Big thank you to Jonny and to each and every one of you for interacting with the show. Good old show today. As ever, we will be back. I think there'll be a show tomorrow, Saturday show as ever, I think. And on Sunday, we'll have all your usual coverage from
the Spods will be back. The Spods will be back on Saturday.
Yeah, they're getting quite the following on the Saturday show. People are liking this old Saturday show, so good stuff. So you can get your Rangers review fixed tomorrow, folks, even though there's no Rangers in action. Right, enjoy your Friday, whatever you are up to, and we shall chat again soon. Bye for now.